Alright, shalom, double honors to the elders of GMS and all the G brothers that be pushing this truth and sincerity. Just been just trying to get through this video, and Elder Wakar mentions that certain guys out there, not of GMS obviously, but certain guys out there that catch, they all into these wayward philosophies, right? They're really not alpha males, right? And the spirit jumped on me to understand, because Lord, the spirit, the elders speak about being diligent. So I was trying to be diligent, and I checked out the word and what the word means, and what pertains to alpha male, and it was pretty heavy, because a lot of these characteristics, as we're gonna see, pertain to what the Most High said his men, and how his men ought to conduct themselves. Now I'm just gonna quickly go through it, and I'm gonna quote the scriptures. I might touch on certain scriptures, but it all pertains to the scriptures. So this is 25 characteristics of an alpha male, right? These are 25 defining characteristics of an alpha male. Now the first characteristic it says here is the alpha male is persistent, right? Doesn't the scripture speak that? Doesn't the scripture speak of us supposed to be being persistent, right? Pushing this truth week in, week out, in season and out of season, right? The men of the Lord are persistent, man, right? It says the alpha male is persistent. There is no quit in him, right? He is the tortoise, not a hare. Didn't Paul say, this truth is likened unto a marathon, something to that effect, right? Just basically roughly paraphrasing. It says he's the last man standing. Revelations 2:25 personifies that. Right, where if the Most High says that him that endureth to the end, the last man standing, in other words, right, to him is the Most High gonna give all of that gain. Right, like I said, I'm just gonna be quoting some of these scriptures, just gonna quickly go through it, right, because I've got a quiet house right now, and it ain't always quiet, right? It says the second one. It says the alpha male can defend himself and his family. Right, the Most High is, well, hey, first and foremost, when we get into the scriptures, man, the Most High works it out to where your defense comes. So we don't have to get caught. The scripture speaks of us being as wise as a serpent. What pertains to being wise as a serpent? Get into these scriptures. And did not the Most High say, when you get into these scriptures, you ain't gonna be forsaken? So we ain't gonna worry about that. Right? Obviously, certain ones of us are gonna have to die for this truth, but that's all pertains to being an alpha male, not being the last man standing, so to speak. Right? It says, right, the alpha male is in peak physical condition, right, a physical shape, meaning to say, hey, you gotta work out sometime. But really, when we apply that to the scriptures, this really pertains to being in peak spiritual condition, right? Obviously, this is a carnal article, and I'm trying to apply spiritual things to it. But a lot of the characteristics, as you're gonna see here, pertain to things that pertain to the scriptures, right? When we're spiritual men, so peak physical shape is about being in peak spiritual shape, studying the scriptures day in, day out, right? Hastening the day, right? Watching the news articles and so on and so forth, right? And it says the fourth one, the alpha male is courageous, right? He doesn't like fear, rather he accepts that it exists and faces it at every opportunity. Does not the scripture say that the Most High has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of boldness? Does not the scripture say the Most High is the man of the Lord is going to be going to stand in wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, the 1st verse, right? Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before such as afflicted him. That's talking about That's talking about courageousness, man. That's a trait that pertains to alpha male, right? More so than that, that's a trait that pertains to the elect, right? It says, right, the alpha male can entertain, right? Has a sense of humor. Hey, we know the Most High is the ultimate humorous dude, man. Right, Most High has got it to where the strongest people are in captivity right now, just to show the whole world his power, man. Right, and more so than that, when you watch the elders and you study them, man, it ain't all just linear, man. It's got dynamic. The elders got flavor, right? You can see these are men of character, right? It says alpha male alpha male has stories to tell. Right, he's lived and his living is unique, right? Like I said, some of these are kind of carnal traits. We go to the 7th one. It says the alpha male can laugh at himself, and most of the time we be laughing at ourselves. Why? Because the life we have right here, it ain't nothing in comparison to what the Most High is gonna add on to us in the future. All right. We jump to the 8th one. All right. The alpha man was humble. All right. Doth not the scriptures say, right, we were supposed to be humble? All right. Does not the scripture say,